Hey everyone, today I want to talk about a topic that is like, mistakes. So, how do you actually react when you realize you made a mistake? I'm not gonna be here like just preaching and saying like do this, do that. I just want to share what is happening right now and from my experience some things, and I would really love to hear from you. What is it that you do? It's very easy and cliche of me to say, fail forward. We need to like learn lessons, and I totally believe in all that. That like mistakes, they happen. We can always learn a lesson, and if we learn a lesson, then it's not really a failure because we're still making something out of it. Let's be honest. It really sucks, right? It just absolutely sucks when we make a mistake and we realize that something that we made so much effort into build has like something very obviously that is a mistake. And so that happened last night. It took me honestly, I don't know, definitely more than 8 hours to 10 hours total, like with still having to publish and everything. The ice bath edition, all the editing for that video, and I was really concerned about my English because like there are many texts and like some expressions that I want to say, make sure that the grammar was right. Probably something wasn't, and it was already like 4 a.m. and I completely overlooked in something very stupid. Like instead of saying like 90 seconds, I said 90 minutes. So I wrote that on the video, which means that I cannot really change right now. And today when I woke up, like asking for some feedback, and I was actually asking for feedbacks about the editing, and definitely it took me way long because, well, I'm new in this, but I would love to have put it like music and making better transitions. And I was just wondering like how people do it. Like I really wanted to learn, so that's why I put that question out there. And then I realized that actually something super stupid that is like, if I were maybe more of a detail-oriented person, I would have noticed. And I do actually find myself really detail-oriented in many things, but sometimes it does pass it. I think people are okay. Sometimes they will be super tired as well. They will make some mistakes. But I just felt so embarrassed by that one small mistake. And that made me like, oh shit. After all that trouble, really wanting to make something really awesome that I wanted to share and like have lots of people seeing the value, because we are explaining in this video like how to do it and like showing the benefits. And I try to make like a nice storytelling with all that happened, our experience, and share with you. And then I was like, oh no, I don't want anyone to see it anymore. But of course, that was just for a moment, and then after a while, meditating, like breathing, I say, okay, what can I learn from here? So definitely lots of lessons. One, try to avoid publishing something that late. I wasn't planning on doing it. Like, of course, I was like editing since during the day, actually a few days before already. But it was a long video, so first lesson for me and for everyone who is like working in a project and have to ship something daily, it's always good to have some backups that you can actually use in a moment that, it wouldn't make sense for me to just keep pushing that hard in the middle of the night, and then in the end of the day, end up making mistakes, right? Second lesson is exactly about that, like this kind of like feeling of like, oh, I'll be pushing it, I can make it, and like being like a workaholic and not sleeping. And I remember I had such a huge headache and I was still like determined to just do it. And in the end of the day, if I actually stop and think about it, either should have had a nap or no, like I should just be prepared to actually improvise and do something different instead of like pushing it so hard in that one, because in the end it just didn't turn out as I wish. So those are a few lessons. The third lesson is definitely like learning more about YouTube, like really figuring out how those things work. The other lesson is even though I always put the text directly like as I'm editing, it's a good idea, guys, to actually have a previous tab and have like a shared document with someone in which I have all the text, and then ask someone to proofread for me, because it's easy for us to just overread something, like just pass our eyes and don't see, especially if we're already used to reading something over and over again, right? So that's also like can be applied in anything in business. Asking for help can really help us. Not to miss like all those little details that we are just like our brain's just not picking up anymore because we are just looking at over and over and over again. How do you actually deal with that? Like sometimes like those are stupid mistakes that we do, but we don't really just want to be judged by it, right? Like we just don't want people to see it and like kind of like start judging, oh, this person did this, oh, how stupid. But that also talks a lot about our mindset again, right? Like the perfectionism side and fear of criticism, because in the end of the day, I got actually a lot of messages saying like how cool that video was, but my brain was really focusing one criticize, well, not really a criticize, just like that warning that there was that mistake. And this is about life. We tend to do that a lot sometimes. Instead of focusing on the bright side of things and the things that we're doing well, how we actually start like kind of like beating ourselves up if we hear like one criticize. Lesson from this, I think, is definitely a lot about self-love. If I keep like beating myself for a mistake like this, it's not really good, right? Like for my own self-love, that I need to actually be more compassionate to myself and understand the circumstances and just like be okay. Fuck, I did this, so now I'm just gonna learn the lessons that I've already said previously, try to apply them like as soon as possible, and keep moving forward, keep continuing. And another thing is like when we make a mistake, it's also really interesting the collective intelligence behind it, because we might actually end up getting advices or tips about that mistake from other people, so we can actually learn even more about circumstances that we can apply as well in other works, instead of just like being focused in that mistake. And normally, yeah, you wouldn't get that advice because you're doing everything right? So you just like continue in that plateau, and that mistake might be the thing that actually brings something that makes you learn even more, and the learning curve is bigger. So I think those are my little lessons for today about how to review a mistake. And actually, I noticed like here with the YouTube challenge that it's actually quite good to make mistakes. Like when you let go of the perfectionism, keep shipping all the time, it forces me to learn more and more and more. So keep doing mistakes, fix them, learn lessons with them, and make the most of them. So subscribe to the channel, let me know what kind of video do you like, because I don't want to be spending like 10 hours editing a video if that's not the type you want. So just keep telling me what you prefer.